Jai Ma Kamakhya, Jai Bhairava, Jai Matala. So today's video is about something I'd planned to do earlier, but I was not getting the time. So in all the various systems of Upasana, Devata Upasana that we have, be it the Shiva, the Shakta, Vaishnava, Shaurya, or all the major Devatas and the practices that are linked to them, uh, constrain various elements. For example, you will have the mantra, you will have the stotrams, stutis, you will have the kavachams, you will have various types of prayogas, various methods of purushcharana for attaining closeness or siddhi of the devata and the mantra. There are also, in the category of beyond this, beyond the kavacham, there is also the thing known as the astra, the weapon. Now, the weapon of a devata is a um, very strong instrument. It is so strong that, first of all, it should not be done ordinarily by everybody. And this goes for all astras of any devata for that matter. Each of them has a mantric body, a body made of mantras, a specific set of vidhans through which you can activate that. But to activate astra of a devata first requires great amount of inner stability and an exceptional kripa of the devata. Until the deity blesses, if an individual is trying to use an astra of the devata, it's very likely to cause a significant amount of damage to the person himself as much as it can cause a damage to others outside. Because at the end of the day, it is only the deity who can handle the astra safely. Nobody else can. So therefore, generally it is not given to everybody, and if at all it is given, then it is given with a lot of precautions and a testing, first of all, whether he or she is capable of handling that astra. And this goes for whether it is the trishula, whether it is the veil of skandha, whether it is the khadga of devi. All of them have their own methods in which they can be activated. But what I can assure you from my own personal experience is that it requires a very steady mind, strong control of emotions, because otherwise, what happens is that the astra tends to get misused, and each misuse of the astra brings about a terrific karmic repercussion on that individual. So that is why the astra is always supposed to be used only in the case of an individual who has been given the divine sanction, the authority to use that. Else it causes repercussion, because it is like a prayoga, but a prayoga that does not fail. That's the difference between an astra prayoga and other prayogas. So this is about generic astra vidyas of any devata. That said, there are certain astras which have a broader acceptance, and over a very long time, a limited use of that astra has been seen to produce very terrific results, even for mundane upasakas. I am saying that not the extraordinary upasaka who is about to reach Devata Siddhi, but even the mundane upasaka. For example, uh, the astra that I am going to speak about today is the Neelkantha Aghorastra. So it is as the name suggests, it is an astra, a vidya related to Lord Shiva. And we are in the middle of the holy month of Shravan, and that is also a very auspicious time to know a little bit about the effect of this, impact of this astra. So the Neelkantha Aghorastra is a stuti, a stotram, dedicated to the form of Shiva who is known as Neelkantha. The actual text is quite easily available these days, and it is a tantric composition. I will ask my team to also mention the text below, maybe in the description or somewhere, so it's easy to find. But there are certain variations of the text that you will find on the internet. All of them work. It's not like only one version works and the other doesn't work. More or less, it is 99% the same. 1% pathantara happens in any other text. So, what exactly is the core of this Astra Vidya? Neelakantha is that form of Shiva who had consumed the poison, halahala poison consumption was done by Shiva. When the Samudra Manthan happened, that poison was supposed to be so disturbing that it engulfed everything in the universe and would have perhaps destroyed everything, had not Lord Shiva, out of his tremendous compassion, decided to consume the poison because nowhere else could it be spread. And then, so that it does not affect him internally, he keeps the poison in his throat. He does not allow the poison to go down into the body. And the impact of the poison is so strong that the throat turns blue in color. And that is why he becomes renowned as the Neelakantha, the Lord with the blue throat. So this form of Shiva has this uniqueness. So we first thing that we see is that here is the form of Shiva who is saving the world from catastrophe, from poisons, from illness, from disease, from negativity. That kind of negativity which cannot be cured, controlled, modified, or removed by any other method, because the whole world can be destroyed by this poison, halahala. And that is why Shiva takes it within himself, inside his body, because he is so pure and is so transcendental and is so divine. It's his form of compassion for the world. He takes on the poisons of the world within his body so that creation can survive and flourish. So the form of Neelakantha is prayed to when we need a solution to this, but it also makes a certain transformation in the upasaka. Suppose there is a Shiva upasaka who worships Neelakantha Swarupa, and it is a rare form, by the way. It is not so easy to worship Neelakantha, neither does everybody. Uh, Neither is it fit for every upasaka, not even for people who are worshippers of Shiva, because it requires that ability to digest poisons of the world, and not flinch, to completely take on the poison and yet not be affected by it internally, which is a truly divine thing to do. I mean, no human can have done it. It's only Shiva who does it. So when worship of Neelakantha Swarupa happens by an upasaka, and again, let me repeat, it's a rare form. It's not that easy. It's not that easy to worship Neelakantha. Its methods, mantras, paddhatis are there, but it's not widely acknowledged or widely practiced. And for good reason, because if you worship Neelakantha very strongly, and if somebody succeeds in the worship of Neelakantha, A, he or she becomes transcendental in a way that he or she has to absorb certain degree of poisons from the world. And number two, it becomes easier to depart from life. Shiva ultimately is the god of transformation and death. What we call death is a transformation from the physical to the subtle plane. That aspect comes out very strongly when very deep engagement with Neelakantha is done. However, for the purpose of our stotram, this for the Astra, Aghorastra, we don't need to go that deep. We don't need to even chant specific mantras of Neelakantha. We just have to remember Shiva in his form as Neelakantha, as the one who consumed the poisons of the world so that he could protect the world from eventual destruction, which would have happened had he not done it, and as a byproduct of the Samudra Manthan. So, this is an Astra. It's an Aghorastra. Aghora is one of the five faces of Shiva, and it is also the face most closely linked to Bhairava. It is the face that is closely linked to fire. It is the face that is closely linked to death, to cremation grounds. The name itself tells you that it is a Ghora, which means that it is the direct path, it is the simplest way, it is the only reality. Because whenever, you could be a believer in one specific religious philosophy, there could be somebody who believes in another sampradaya, could be anything. But the one thing common, which does not require a book or a text or a belief system or faith, is the sanguine knowledge the death is going to be common for everybody. It does not matter whether you have XYZ spiritual disposition, if you're a yogi, if you're a tantric, if you're a meditator, if you are in the bhakti marga, does not matter. Death is going to come for everybody. That is the rule of Mahakala. Nobody escapes it. Same way, Aghora is that aspect of Shiva which is closest to death. And because of its abiding reality, it does not need any further clarification or a narrative or a question inside the head, because we all live in narratives all the time. There's a story going on in the head. I am so and so, the world is so and so, and this is my equation with the world, whether it's positive, whether it's sad, whether I am an enjoyer of things or I'm a victim of circumstances. It's all a narrative inside the head. But Aghora is without a narrative. Because Aghora is without a narrative, so he's represented as Digambara, and that comes across to the human consciousness as extremely terrifying, because raw truth, without filters, without a narrative, without a background music, is disturbing to the Upasaka himself or herself. Leave aside the rest of the world. Because we are so not accustomed to seeing things as they are, to meeting reality without a background music. So this Swarupa of Aghora is the controller of this Astra. And the primary benefits of this Astra is that it can destroy any type of negativity. Absolutely any type of negativity can be destroyed by it. It can destroy, for example, what we call nazar, or that kind of negative vibrations from people, jealousy and things like that. It can destroy diseases, specifically related to fevers. In the traditional Shaiva pantheon, there is a being called the Jwarasura, which is the disease, the being, the controlling force, the personality that controls all types of fevers, but within the Shaiva pantheon. So even Jwarasura gets activated and removes fevers when this mantra, stutis, or this prayoga is done by an upasaka. Not just jara, not just fevers, but if there are even larger ailments, there are catastrophic events happening around an individual, there is a strong element of fear, threat, something of the other like that, including psychic attacks, attacks from spirits, any type of the, whatever you call it, bhoot, pret, kuch bhi, whatever it happens, or any general unseen negative entity can be completely stopped with the application of this Vidya Prayoga. However, its primary objective, in my opinion, the fastest that it acts is with respect to diseases. I have used it myself and have encouraged others to use it at various times, especially with respect to diseases, fevers, anything, especially a kind of fever that is, suppose it's not breaking and it's going on for days and days, etc. Whether it's for children, whether it's for the Upasaka himself, whether for family, then the application of this stuti is absolutely marvelous. It is like in the Shaiva pantheon, it is, in my opinion, among the top 3 stotras that are available related to Shiva or any form of Shiva or Bhairava for removing negatives. So what one needs to do is start this stuti from any Sunday or the Pradosh Kalam on a Monday. If you have to get the best results, you can start other times also, no problem. If it's an emergency and if Monday or Sunday is far off, you can start whatever day or time it is. But it works best if you do it on Sunday or the Pradosh Kalam on a Monday. Or the third option is whichever day you start, try and do it in the sunrise time, the early morning, at the time when the sun is about to rise. Take the Aghorastra stuti, write it down somewhere. Before that, if you are a Bhairava Upasaka, then chant Om Bhairavayanam at least a mala and pray to him for guidance and that you succeed in this specific prayoga. Keep a pot or a bowl of water maybe in a copper vessel or something, because copper is a good conductor of this spiritual energies. Copper or I mean, if you have silver or other materials, it's even better, but copper is fine. And then chant this whole stotra from the dhyana to the falastuti at the end, from the dhyana to the last sloka at the end, 7 times, only 7. And light a diya, chant it 7 times, then take that water and blow into that water. And after that, consume a bit of the water. If you are suffering from the disease, then consume the water. If there is somebody else in your household who is suffering from the disease, then make them consume the water. The rest of the water, or if there is some kind of a negative presence, you feel that there is space around is unsafe, then you can sprinkle the water all around your house, especially at the entrances or the places where the doors are, where you are changing, you are shifting from one room to the other. So on those places you can put drops of water, sprinkle a bit of the water. In case somebody is in case there is very definite presence of some negative forces in that area, then not just water, along with it keep a bowl of white सरसों, white or yellow सरसों, पीली सरसों और सफेद सरसों, दोनों में से कोई भी एक एक कटोरी में आप रख दीजिए साथ में, along with the water. And then after chanting it 7 times, sprinkle that throughout the room, throughout your house, everywhere. Okay. And next day morning, clear of the whole area. Ensure that it stays overnight, and then next day, whenever the rooms have been cleaned, just clean up the whole thing and throw it away somewhere. Now this has to be continued for a minimum period of 27 days if the disease or the fever is of lesser intensity, and if it is something bigger, then go ahead and do it for 48 days, which is one mandala. If a woman is doing it, avoid doing it during periods, skip those 4 days, and then again start from the next day and keep count for 48 days. This is such a powerful stotram that it has the power to reduce, either completely remove or definitely reduce the intensity of diseases, very difficult diseases, whether it is due to a physical ailment or due to some kind of uh, nazar, psychic attacks, this, that, etc., spirits, whatever it may be. Inside the Neelkantha Aghorastra stotram, there is a specific mantra. There are certain sampradayas of augurs who gain mastery over that mantra by very complex and difficult years of practice. Lakhs and lakhs and lakhs of japa, but with a lot of vidhan. You cannot just randomly pick that mantra. And when they attain perfection in that mantra, it is so powerful that it can remove, just by uttering the mantra even 10 times, it can remove, exorcise any type of negative entity from a space. Not only exorcise, in some cases, I've heard from very reliable sources, they can even control the spirits and make them, remove from one place and go and sit somewhere else, etc. It gives absolute mastery over the occult world. But it is a tough mantra, and it has many other rules by which it has to be done. Otherwise, it produces such tremendous amount of very fast heat in the mind and body that it affects the upasaka who is doing it. So it cannot be randomly done. Just pick up the mantra from a book or from the internet and keep doing it. No, that will lead to problems for the upasaka rather than doing good. Which is why the prayoga that I mentioned requires it to be done 7 times, not more than 7. There's no need to do 15, 20, 25. No, 7 times, but keep doing it consistently for one mandala, 48 days, just lighting a diya, and you are very, very likely to see strong positive effects of this. This is one of those prayogas of the Astra of Shiva, which I have myself tried and applied to many people over years, and almost I would say that it gives 95% of the time it gives positive results. 5% where it doesn't give is mainly because if the karma is very drida. So what happens is either the person is not able to complete the recitation of the stuti, some of the other badha happens, or uh, some such obstacle does not allow them, or the mind doesn't function. So it gets, after 2 or 3 days, you feel like, no, I don't want to do this. That's because the karmas are so heavy, they don't want you to give a solution right at the moment, right at that moment. That also happens because, as we know, there are drira karmas and adrira karmas and drira adrira karmas. So those which are drira karmas, if there's a disease which is governed by certain planets which represent Drya Karma, then you will not be able to perform the remedy. But that is only a small percentage of people. There are many others for whom it would work wonderfully if you try and do this. Remember, in the Shiva pantheon of mantras, this is a supreme method of removing diseases. It is almost unfailing. It is that powerful. And as you get more accustomed to doing this, it develops your discipline, perseverance, habit. It increases the energy of the mind and body of the upasaka, which is able to fight against any negativity. And that also fills you with determination, whatever your goal might be. So I hope that this is helpful to everybody, especially in this month. And uh, if you are suffering from diseases, if you are suffering from fevers, if there's somebody around you who is suffering from either any kind of physical deficiency or fever or a disease, and you suspect that it is due to some kind of psychic attacks, then you can do the sadhana for them and feed them the water every day. Continue for 48 days and see for yourself how things work out. Jai Ma Kamakhya, Jai Matara, Jai Bhairava.